we want to first figure out what variables cause the aggregate demand curve to shift. So those are pretty much something that you have to kind of memorize, but the main thing is that it is not a change in price. So when you want a shift in the aggregate demand curve, it is something that changes separate from price. So when you look at shifts in the aggregate demand curve, price level should never be one of the variables. The variables that do cause the aggregate demand curve to shift, which we will write here, that's short for variables that shift the AD, the aggregate demand curve. Alrighties, so we have interest rates, which I will write shorthand as IR. Then we have government purchases, which I will write shorthand as GOVT. Okay. Then we have personal income. Income. Cool. And business taxes. Okay. Then we have household expectations of future incomes, which we will just write shorthand as household expectations. Okay, and then we also have firms' expectations of future profitability of their investment spending. So I'm just going to write that shorthand as firm expectations, which we will just do a little that. So we're symbolizing that we want that same word, firm expectations, and then another variable that shifts the aggregate demand curve is the growth rate of the domestic, which I'm gonna again write shorthand as lowercase d, GDP, in respect to, which I'm gonna write shorthand IRT, in respect to the growth rate of foreign GDP. So of foreign GDP, which I'm also writing shorthand lowercase f GDP. Okay, and then the last one that we're going to have here is the exchange rate of the US dollar in respect to foreign currencies. So exchange rate of US dollar in respect to foreign currencies. Okay. Great. So now, if all of the question is asking if there is an increase in all of these variables, what happens to the aggregate demand curve? So we're going to write a big, we're going to write just plus there, just so we know that we're working with an increase in all of those. And then we are going to write on this right side the effects on the AD curve. AD curve shifts. Okay, so we're gonna undo that. Oh, there we go. Okay, so if there is an increase in the interest rate, which we have here as IR, that means that there will be a leftward shift in the AD curve because consumption will be decreasing. So we're going to do AD curve shifts, and I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little minus for the interest rate, which means the minus is for left and the plus is going to be for right. Okay, so if government purchases increase, that means that that is an increase in G, which is government spending. So the AD curve is just going to shift right. I do a little plus for right. If there's an increase in personal income slash business taxes, so it's not an increase in personal income, it's an increase in personal income taxes and an increase in business taxes, just to clarify. If there is an increase in that, that means that consumers will have less disposable income, or businesses will have less disposable income. So consumption will decrease. So that's a negative shift in the AD curve. If there's an increase in household expectations of future incomes, that means that consumers think, oh, we're going to have more money in the future, so we can fund more spending now because we will have more money in the future. So that's an increase in consumption, which shifts the AD curve. So we are going to put that as a plus. If there's an increase in firm expectations of future profitability of investment spending, it's pretty much the same reasoning as the one for household expectations. So we're going to put a little plus there for the AD curve shifting to the right. If there's an increase in the growth rate of domestic GDP in respect to the growth rate of foreign GDP, that means that there will be more consumers will have more spendable income in the US than compared to consumers in other countries. So the cost of goods in the US will increase, so foreign countries won't be buying US goods, and US consumers will have more of a desire to purchase foreign goods. So that means that net exports will decrease, resulting in a leftward shift of the AD curve. So we're going to put a little minus there. And then when there's an increase in the exchange rate of US dollars in respect to foreign currencies, that means that the US dollar is stronger than, that means that the US dollar is stronger than the foreign currency, which means that there will be, again, a decrease in net exports. So we have leftwards there. Okay, that is the end of the question.